Okay, so welcome back to the Java uh, part 3 of the presentation. And today we'll be discussing about string tokenizers in Java and understanding string manipulation by them. So I in last week I taught about that file handling and about exception handling. We talked about that in the last session, and today we will be talking about string tokenizer. The reason for starting that string tokenizer today is that string tokenizer was actually one of the most important part of the Java programming in the earlier times. But now, since as the language is having certain upgrades and updates are available of Java. String tokenizer is now not used much often, but still this string tokenizer method is quite popular, and even interviewers try to ask questions related to this topic. So that was the reason why I'm starting this string tokenizer topic related to Java. So now first of all, we'll see what actually is a tokenizer. So a string tokenizer is a utility class used to break a string into tokens based on specified delimiters. So now basically, string tokenizer was actually meant to split the strings that were given into a program to evaluate and work upon. So the reason of splitting the strings depends upon the requirements of the program and the necessity why that particular program wants the strings to be broken. As you can see, as I mentioned in the purpose, that splitting strings for parsing and analyzing and for processing. So tokenizer is actually used for these purposes, that is for parsing, analysis, and processing. Now, why to use a string tokenizer? So this is one of the biggest question that will be coming into a programmer's mind who is not having a knowledge related to string tokenizer, because this is a term that might be new to many programmers who are using Java today. So the first person is easy to use. So now a string tokenizer was actually one of the oldest topic, and it was actually one of the oldest topic in Java that was quite simple to use for the programmers. And the reason behind the string tokenizer being simple was that the syntax of this particular tokenizer system was quite simple and was easily understood by the programmers that were using it. So that is why the programmers most often used to use the string tokenizer. The first point says easy to use, that is simplifies the process of parsing string. The second one is the legacy class, part of the Java util packages commonly used before the introduction of modern methods like regex and split, and performance when to prefer it over other string parsing method. So now obviously it was easy to use. We talked about it. Legacy classes means this particular string tokenizer method was a part of the Java util packages that was most easily accessible to the programmers who were writing code in those time using the Java util packages, and especially using the tokenizers. And moreover, the performance of string tokenizer was very much efficient for the programmers who were working on it. Now, let's see the syntax of string tokenizer. Now, for the syntax of the string tokenizer, actually there are two types of syntaxes. One is the constructor overview, and the other one is using a parameters. So the constructor overview the first thing is the string tokenizer, that is in a we'll be creating a string tokenizer in which we'll be passing a string str, and then in the string tokenizer we'll be passing along with the string we'll be passing a string delimiter, and later on using the string tokenizer we'll be splitting the strings on the basis of the delimiters, and we'll be returning the final string in the form of delimiters. Now explanation of the parameter says that str is a string to be tokenized, delim, that is a delimiter separating tokens, and return delim option to return the delimiter as a token, as it is having the storage option of the final splitted string that was being splitted using a string tokenizer method. Now, the key methods of string tokenizer. So the common method which the programmer used to use using a string tokenizer The first one is has more tokens. Now has more tokens checks if there are more tokens that are need to be splitted in the string that is given by the user. Then is the next token, that is it returns the next token which is about to be splitted, and the count tokens, that is the tokens, the number of tokens that are yet remaining and needs to be splitted by the string tokenizer. These three are the most common methods of string tokenizer that was used by the programmers who used to work upon and use string tokenizer for the splitting of the string purposes. Now we'll move on to the examples of string tokenizer. So we can see that we have created a string tokenizer st, and there we have passed a string that is welcome to Java programming. Now we have used a has more tokens feature over there, and we can see the output, that is the string that is welcome to Java programming has been splitted, and the output says welcome comes in another line, to comes in another line, Java in other, and the programming in other. So this is the basic syntax of using has more tokens related to the string tokenizer, and you can see the example related to this particular method. The second one is related to the second type of example, that is related to some sort of a regex function. Now we can see that obviously a programmer may send certain types of strings which might not be in the form of alphabets or numbers. It might contain some sort of special characters as well, as we can see in this particular string where a user has passed the string that is x plus y minus z, comma, within the double quotes plus and minus. And now using the string tokenizer, that is st.next token, we can see that we are returning the final output in the form of x plus y minus z. Now we can see that string tokenizer was a method that was easily used for any sort of purposes, whether it is the string is an alphabetical string, numeric string, or the string is containing some sort of special characters within itself. That is why string tokenizer was one of the most popular packages of Java programming when earlier programmers used to use it. Now this is a third example. So you can see examples from string. We'll be moving on to the advantages of the string tokenizers. Now, the first thing that that comes in a programmer's mind, that why we should use a string tokenizer. Now, string tokenizer has basically three types of advantages. The first one is the efficiency. Since it is a light-weighted class and it will work well in simple use cases, string tokenizer is very efficient for that purpose. Compatibility is that works with older Java version, that is legacy coding. That is this particular string tokenizer method. We can use this string tokenizer method even today, as it is one of the important part of the older version of the Java programming languages. So that was the reason why it was being used by other programming languages that were of older versions as well. And it is having a reliable code. That is, it offers a simple API for being for basic string parsing. So these are the three advantages related to the string. Now moving on to the disadvantages. Now we all know that now we are not using string tokenizer more often for programming purpose. Now what is the reason why we are not using string tokenizer? The first one is depreciated use. That is largely replaced by string.split and regular expressions. So we might have, every one of us have studied automata, and we all know about regular expression. But what exactly regular expression in Java means, we all know about a package that is import java.regex package. So this particular regex package is none other package related. It is a package that is related to the regular expression. So nowadays, during in the programming languages, we are using dot split form method and regular expression. That is why splitting of the string has become quite easier, and that is the reason why string tokenizer is not used nowadays. The second one is the limited flexibility. That is, it doesn't support complex parsing like regex. Now obviously there was a very this big disadvantage which string tokenizer was having, that is, in case of a regular expression type of string, the string tokenizer method used to didn't perform well. That was one of the reasons why the people were not in the not using the string tokenizer for their programming purpose. Now the third one is no modification. That is, tokens are extracted but not modified in places. That is, once that we are splitting a string using a string tokenizer, we cannot modify the tokens using that. So these three were the biggest disadvantage just related to string tokenizer method. Now, what is the difference between tokenizer and string dot split? So the first one is when to use for simple legacy system, that is, and when to avoid for complex parsing state task. So string tokenizer is actually slightly faster as compared to string dot split, whereas string dot split is slightly slower because string dot split is related to the regular expression evaluation. That is why it takes most often a larger amount of time as compared to the string tokenizer, which doesn't use to work related to the regex function. That is the basic difference between string tokenizer and dot split. The another difference that we can see using a tokenizer and split method is that in tokenizer we split the string on the basis of delimiters, and we return one string characters at a time. Whereas in a split string, we directly return multiple string characters at a time. That is the second basic difference between tokenizer and dot split method. Now we'll be seeing what is regex in Java. So our regex simply in Java means a regular expression, as it is one of the powerful tool for pattern matching and text processing. And even this powerful feature of regex is being used in NLP, that is natural language processing, that is in machine learning. So this is one of the important concept of the modern Java programming languages that the programmers are using nowadays. And basically this regex function, we can import it using java.util.regex package, which allows the developers to search, match, and manipulate string on the basis of patterns. And that is the reason why this particular package is used in even in NLP technologies related to machine learning. Now tokenizing string related to the regex. So you can see that here is an example of email recognition using a regex technology, where we can see that there is a text that is related to that is containing an email address related to a particular company's website, and then there is an email pattern that is given in the next line. And we can see that the email pattern which is given in the next slide, it is in the form of special characters, and more often it is there in the form of regular expression, as we can see it over there. So this particular feature related to regex programming was provided in the Java regex package, and this was one of the biggest reasons why string tokenizer is not used nowadays, because string tokenizer often finds this type of pattern recognition as a difficult task to recognize, and that is why it is not often used nowadays, and people are using regex method and dot split method over string tokenizer, and that is the reason why this particular tokenizing technique is now getting outdated. Now, what is the real world application for string tokenization? Now, the first thing is data parsing, that is extracting data from logs, CSV files, and user input. The second one is, that is the most important part related to the tokenizer, is the NLP, that is a natural language processing, tokenizing sentences into words. And the third one is combined line argument parsing, that is splitting input arguments into tokens. Now, what are the alternatives that a user can use in place of string tokenizer? The first one is Apache Common String Utils, a powerful utility library. So now in Java, there are various libraries which user can use in place of a string tokenizer that are quite effective and even more effective than string tokenizer. Using a scanner class is useful for tokenizing input streams, and using stream API, using that is leveraging collectors for string splitting. Now, what is the depreciation of string tokenizer? In Java documentation, official statement on the depreciation of string tokenizer is that nowadays we know, as I talked about, that this particular feature or related to the regular expression handling was not provided and handled easily by the string tokenizer. And obviously, that was the same statement that was being provided by the in the Java documentation, and it even recommended the programmers who are using programming languages nowadays to use split and rejects method, as rejects package in model application for the better application of the splitting of the string particular types of methods in the Java. Now, why depreciation of string tokenizer happened? That is, in essence, string tokenizer is considered as a legacy class due to limited flexibility, lack of support for regular expression, the extents of superior alternatives like split and scanner, and the concern usage. It is not officially depreciated, but it should be avoided in favor of more modern and powerful method in Java. So now, as I am talking about this particular tokenization depreciation method, that about regular expression, that is, tokenizer didn't used to handle the regular expression in a well defined pattern. And moreover, it was less flexible, as the tools and the methods which are being used nowadays related to string tokenizer are much more advanced as compared to the string tokenizer that was used by the programmers in the earlier time. That was the reason why this particular string tokenizer method is now not used often by the programmers, although it is still not removed from the usage of the programmers. But still, most of the programmers that write code using the programming language, that is Java, they avoid to use string tokenizer, and they use most oftenly the modern alternatives, that is using a scanner class, split string, or regex packages. Now, the overall summary related to the string tokenizer is that a string tokenizer is a legacy class in Java, which is used to break a string into tokens, typically using a delimiters like white spaces or a custom delimiter, such as a comma or a semicolon. It provides basic string splitting functionality and is a part of a Java util package. However, it is considered outdated and has largely been replaced by more powerful alternatives such as string.split and the scanner class. So hopefully, I think that this particular feature of string tokenizer, which we are getting nowadays, that is dot split and scanner class, they remove all such sort of disadvantages that that were have the string tokenizer was having, and that is the reason why these methods are used nowadays. Now, what are the takeaways that we need to see from the string tokenizer and disadvantages? Now, the first one is prefer a string.split or a scanner class, as it is the most modern tool and a method for splitting of string. Now, for more complex or flexible tokenization tasks, use string.split for regular expression based splitting or scanner for advanced input handling. Avoid string tokenizer for new projects. Obviously, this is one of the important key point. That is, we must avoid to use string tokenizer in our new projects that we are building in nowadays. And it is considered legacy and should be avoided in favor of for more robust and feature-rich alternatives. In conclusion, while string tokenizer can still be used for simple tasks, it is better to use modern approaches than are easier to work with and more efficient and flexible. Well, that was all from my side. If you have any question, then you can ask from me.
No question.
Okay, thank you.
So give me a second. After that, I'll start my presentation.
Okay, sure.
Okay, my screen is visible to all of you. Please let me clear this time.
Yes,
Clear
it's
something.
visible. You can carry on.
Okay. So we will move on the presentation part. Basically presentation, but nothing but some notes of our previous of our today's session. So till this point, I have covered all the basic concepts of Docker, and we are moving a special tool of Docker that's called the Docker Compose. In this special tool, we mainly deploy our application, our many services with a single command and stop all those services with a single command. In that, the containers creation process, custom image creation process, and the custom network creation process must be automated. Likewise, if I say that if uh, if I run a single command, after that my operating system is changed. Like firstly, I am working with like on the starting point, I am working with a Windows. Okay. So and simultaneously, like Ubuntu operating system is also in my desktop. Okay. So if I open my desktop, then firstly, if the Windows is running, okay, and I want to switch it, then I press a button on my CPU and there was a grub. Okay, that grub will make you two options where you have to select on two options. Grub will give you a suggestion which operating system you want to work. After that, you will choose whether you want to work. So what's that grub? That grub is basically a we can like this is an example, not the exact thing which what I'm trying to say about. But grub is basically give you option. If you run like Windows only, then all the commands of Windows are running background and the Windows is executed on your desktop. Simply, there is a Docker Compose. That's Docker Compose will give you a tool to created go on the right direction in a current phase. Okay, if I just write the Docker Compose, then all the required commands for creation, network creation, container creation, running an image, or creating a custom image that will created, that will work, uh, that will start working simultaneously. Okay, so we don't have to write it manually. Okay, so just we move forward from here till here. If you have any point of doubt, then tell me. Otherwise, I will move forward.
You can move, Rudransh.
Okay, my example is clear to all of you. What is basically what I'm trying to say? What is Docker Compose do?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So just I move the next slide. So launching services using Docker Compose. Okay. So for apply Docker Compose, we have to. I think Keshav, you mute your voice. Okay. So for applying Docker Compose, we have to make separate YML extension. Give me a second. Okay. Huh. So for applying Docker Compose, we have to make separate .yml extension file in the folder of where many folders are present. In the rest of the folder, the services are mentioned like front-end service, back-end service, database service, and etc. All of the stuffs which we are trying to create and we are want to deploy it. All the services which you want to run place in a single folder. Okay, in like if I want to run all of the stuffs, like if I created three services, firstly front end code, secondly back end code, and thirdly database management. So all these three I want to start simultaneously, like our logic, our front end, our back end, and database are directly integrated. So just you start like try all the things simultaneously. Okay, So just you mention all those folders, or those all those like front end custom image, back end custom image, and database custom image on a single folder. On that folder, you just expand a yml.extension file where you can see it here. Like, give me a second. Where is my cursor? Okay. So in rest of the folders mentioned backend services which you want to run in a single folder, and fill the configuration of your YAML file in like in this format. Okay. So on the same folder, okay, on behind that directory, like in a single folder, all of the things are mentioned. In previous to that folder, a .yml extension must be there to run all the services simultaneously. In that Docker compose .yml extension file, what is the content inside it? That I tell you actually in previous session I tell you about YML extension or YML file is basically used to configure all our services in a single way. So just a configuration of YML like this format. This is best for the previous version. Okay. So if I just write the Docker compose file .yml, inside that just write the version name. After that, we take care of the indentation, because the uh, YML is an extension. What we can say, YML is a case sensitive language, and we must take care of the indentation here. Okay. So just write the version name. After that, space services app. What is this app? This is a particular application which I want to run. So in this session, like in previous session also, I just run a Python to Mongo application with the help of PyMongo tool, PyMongo library. So just write the command .app, and this is also what the custom image creation. And this Mongo is basically a base image which is present already on the Docker Hub portion. So we don't have to take care of that. So there are some restrictions also. So just remove what kinds of restrictions on that YML extension file. So ensure there is space after colon. So must be taken care of that. This colon after this colon must be a single space. This is a basic rule in YML extension file. Here is not, because this is invalid. In some ports number, we can't mention port number in Docker Compose. Some of YML files, they are using port number also, but that is a different thing. I must tell you in the Docker advanced Docker version what is this, why this is a port number not mentioned. Okay, so probably this week, today also, I just completed my Docker rest of the portion. If any part is left, so I might try it to complete it on like late evening also. So that's not the concern. Firstly, focus on this portion. So just make a colon. That is the important point. YML is a case sensitive, like I previously told you that YML is a case sensitive language. You must take care of indentations, and also this. If you write the okay, so if you write the services name in a capital letter, that must not be taken care, that must not be obeyed here. You must be follow the rules that the letter which these services are start must be in lower case. Okay, so just move here, just read all of the stuffs. The official Docker compose document. Actually, at the end, when I completed the advanced Docker, after that I will give you documentation of all the things what I have to tell in my presentations, and all of the stuffs notes which I have created and give you to you. Okay. So documentation is specified that certain keys including build, image, volumes, network should always be in lowercase. So take care of that. These all are present in lowercase. Actually, here app is sometimes work on uppercase also, but taking care of that, like this is a traditional way to write in a small lowercase. So you must have to follow this. So okay, so in Docker Compose version 2, and later on you can simply remove the version field from your Docker Compose y.yml. So after the advancement of Docker, you don't have to write the version name, which here the example Docker YML extension mentioned. So These are the extensions. So just I move forward. Okay, so okay, give me a second. Just give me a second. After that, I will start the coding portion. After that, I will explain all of this with the help of coding. So you don't have to get taken care of that. Why are these are randomly? I take a screenshots so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. So here we are going to our code portion. Just this is our code. So basically in previous session, just I made the Docker custom file. Yeah, these all you have to create manually, okay? Because in the custom folder, you the we can say that you have independent to make a custom file where you want to configure yourself how the image is built on. Like if I want to make an application where I have to use the busybox image, I have to use the Mongo image, I have to use the SQL image also. So that is my configuration. I have to work on these folders simultaneously. That's why I make a custom image based on that. After that, the custom image is created on my desktop. I just used some commands to deploy on a container, and that container is based on a custom image. If I want to publish it like my personal custom image to to all of the members, like I have to share it with my friends also. Just I upload that image to my friend to my Docker Hub portion where they my friends are take that image in the form of uh, we can say not a dangling image. Okay, so this must be taken care of. That here a Docker Compose file is there. So firstly this is a custom file and this is a main.py file. Here is the main code where the integration between a Python to Mongo database are there. This is a simple code that makes an interaction. Okay, and this is a custom file which take the Mongo image to the integration with main.py. Just I both copied and pasted in the Docker Compose folder so that I will deploy with the help of a Docker Compose. Because in previous sessions, I tell you how deploy manually. In today's session, I just use to deploy in a Docker Compose way. Okay, so just I of this folder and just created a YML folder extension base. If you want to see the name, just give me a second. So here you can see .yml. This is a basic configuration file which can configure all of these systems. So just I want to run a app system, this where app folder is mentioned, and I just want to use a Mongo. Just I use Mongo here. If you want to know the list of the network that are present, so just see it here. Docker network list. This is a simple command to list our network running. So here you can see no Python SQLite containers are running because previously I just delete all this. Firstly, here Docker network list, all of the containers are there. But I just use the command. Here you can see Python Mongo and Python SQLite. These are basic network creation that I will create it for deploying in previous sessions. But in today's session, I want to make it manually. So just I remove with the simple command Docker network remove Python SQLite. With the help of this command, I can remove this network and this network. And here, if you write the same command, you can see it here. There is only 3 networks and no other network is created. So just I want to run Docker Compose up. Wait a second so that this commands are performing. So in previous sessions, you see that network creation have a different command, containers running have a different command, attachment is a different command. So you don't have to take care of all of the commands. Just you see it here. If I go with the starting portion, just here you can see. Okay, so Docker Compose up. Okay, so I just run this command. So it will manually create network Python dash compose default. It will be created. So these firstly is a network created manually, automatically with the help of a single command, compose up. It will up like for upping that a network is required, so just create a random network. Two containers are required, so just created a Python compose Mongo one container, app one container. Inside the app one, I just write the main code so that in that image a container is based on that, and this is a basically what configuration based on the JSON file. Okay, this is basically shows that a correct, we can say, integration between your database to your Python code. Okay, in previous sessions I tell you manually, but in this session with the help of single command, you can see. If you want to see in a give me a second. Just I write V. So this is basically a UI of Docker desktop, Docker compose. So it will take some of little bit of time. So we must leave it. See what till here. If you have any doubt, then feel free to
No
ask.
doubt, Rudransh.
Okay, okay. It will might be taken some of time of time. So just I explain whatever I. So here, if if this version is not here, so don't be taken care of version. We can skip it version. Yeah, if we are working on advanced Docker recent version, then we skip it. Okay, so just give me a second. I think the okay. So here you can see our Docker compose is welcomed. So here you can see databases. Okay, you must take care that these are the not time where I have. Okay, this is the correct time. Sorry. So you can see the time is correct and 17 minutes 42 seconds. Recently, I have created this. After running the Docker compose up, the database is created, empty disk. So previously you said that previously you see that I just want to run a code that will combine the two containers and integrate two containers with it. After that, the database interaction is possible. Okay. So in this command, you will clearly see that it is a automatic process. So just you are here. Okay. So simple and single command with the help of present of your YML extension file. So Docker compose up, this command will create containers based on images and also create custom containers, custom images, not a custom container. That is the wrong word. Yeah. Give me a second. Uh, Custom images simultaneously. Okay, based on the services like images. Okay, the previous one is correct. I think on services, that is the image. Custom containers, not custom images. And created custom network for attachment. Here is the proof. I completed with till this slide. If you have any doubt, then ask.
No doubt, Rudransh.
All of you understand what is the power of Docker Compose up only a single command that will integrate all of the stuffs. If you are building with large level applications, just use a single YML file, configure all of the things manually and just write the code. And inside the image code, you have to write the integration code, but with a single command, just all of the steps are running and you must be feeling happy when you are done with a single command, all of the steps. So just I move forward. Okay, so just here network creation, you see clearly network is created automatically and the database collection done automatically. So note that Docker Compose and Docker Compose, we have slightly different. Okay, so if you write the Docker Compose and what is the difference? So must we tell you, if you want to like, if here you want to stop it, just here you can see view in Docker desktop, press V, enable watch, so just press W. So for watching like enable watch, just write, I write W. So watch is not configured. So sometimes you have to configure it with your desktop. If you don't want to configure it, just simple use Control V. Sorry, V. Just press on your desktop V and all of the stuffs are running. So if I write Control C, it must be stopped. But here, if you list the network, so Docker network list, a default network is created that must not be stopped. If you want to stop this, if you want to see the running containers, so there is no container are running. But if a network is present, that is bridge form, Python compose default. If you want to stop this, all of the stuffs, so just use the Docker what compose down. So here you can see all of the things which have created by Docker compose hub are deleted. Okay. So just I move in presentation slides. So these are the things are removed. Some features also are associated with it. You get help. If you want to learn more about the Docker Hub, this command, Docker up and Docker compose down. So just use this Docker / help. Okay, Docker Compose. What is the difference between slash and not slash? So Docker Compose, this refers to the original standalone Docker Compose tool, typically installed separately on Docker itself. It was a Python-based tool used to define manage multi-containment application. ठीक, ये तो हो गया, ये पहला वाला है विथ हाइफन वाला. ओके, ठीक. अब हम लोग जा रहे हैं कि सेकंड वाले पे जो हाइफन वाला नहीं, जो मैंने अभी रन किया. So Docker Compose, this part of the Docker, this is the part of Docker CLI. You can clearly see in previous slide that if I just write V, it will open what a GUI where the Docker desktop is open, and in that some configuration is there. Okay. So what is Docker Compose here? This is a part of a Docker CLI integrated starting with Docker version 2. It does not require a separation installation because it is bundled with Docker itself. So till here, if you have any doubt, so then ask. Otherwise, today I have this much. Actually, I have to prepare some of the stuffs for like which I have used in. So if you have any doubt, ask.
Rudra, likewise, we are using you are using Python and for deploying the network and using Python language and MongoDB. So can we use any different languages? For example, we can do it with JS or any other language.
Okay, if you want to deploy it with it, actually, I previously told about this that Docker will compatible with all of the languages. Yeah, you don't care of the languages. Okay, so just YML file is the extension. In that YML extension, you must configure a services name. In that services name, you must like in that custom images, you have to write in your own whatever you language you want to write. You write on that language. Basically, in the starting portion, I just run HTML with the help of the single Docker. So that is not the part. Whatever language you want, you will create a folder, a custom image, and then run on this. Docker is compatible with all of you till this point. Whatever I have knowledge, that is the expected answer what you want. Okay. Any other stuffs which problem is you?
No, Rudransh.
Okay. So thank you all. Thank you. Welcome everyone. In on Saturday, I will discuss about what I will discuss till some points behind. I explain all the concepts about the Docker Compose and try to run with a single command. How to run multiple containers and all of the stuffs with a single command, that is Docker Compose up. But in today's session, till here, I think I just covered. Okay, so give me a second. So this is our previous session. I just add some slides here in this PDFs also so that you can understand. Okay. So here what in previous on Saturday I tell you about Docker Compose and Docker / Compose. We have slightly different, and also I just embed the Docker Compose and Docker without we can say without hyphen, uh, without how what is the difference between Docker Compose and Docker dash compose? Okay, so here if we try to run with the help of with Docker like with dash, then we tried it here. If we just write firstly, give me a second, just I off my container which is currently maybe running. Okay, so just if I write just here Docker compose up. So here you can see that it creates a different types of files. Okay, whatever the Docker without this created is different, and here the network name is different. Okay, so sometimes the things are different, little bit different. Here if here some here the links are different. Okay, some of the stuffs might be different here. So if you running with the help of without dash, when we used names different when we used Docker Compose. Okay, then these are created. Okay, you see that Docker Compose down, these containers are removed on a particular file. Okay, this is because of a dot in folder name. Okay, so just I move here. Notice with Docker this symbol with this types of down are happening. So here you can see difference. Here 5 app one only. Here 5 Python custom links slash Mongo slash one. These types of differences occur. The container name must be different. Sometimes the network must be different. Custom network creation must be different. So these are all the stuffs. So just we move forward. Writing the following code in the main.py file to make record inside that link inside give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. So writing the following code in main.py file. In this file, to make record inside the link, inside that link, inside it. Okay, so here records is database and links is a collection. And inside that, this entry is there. A link is inserted. Okay. That not a link is inserted. We can say a key value pair is inserted. Okay. So just key value pair inserted. Key value pair is inserted. Key value pair is inserted. Okay. So till here, if you all the things are clear. If we go on the code, then here you can see a port mapping is there. Just skip this time. What is the port mapping here? Actually, sometimes your desktop like this time also. I will try. Firstly, there is no Docker desktop open in my desktop. So give me a second. So here you can see Docker desktop is not currently open. So that's why these all commands are not perfectly go well. Okay. So just I exit from this and just I write down here. Okay, so just I just use the previous command compose. We can see it here what happening. Okay, so if you seeing that this clarifies that we are successfully inserted on a database this query. If we want to know in a database also where we inserted, then just tab B this will be open. And here, I think might be here you can see app one ID. This ID and this all of this source content is mentioned here. That means that we successfully added this ID and object inside our database. But what thing I am trying to tell you about is if we write Control C it here. Okay, so just is compose up down. And we just go in the main.py file, and inside that just whatever the source content.com we just write Rudransh. Okay, so just write at the rate source content, at the rate source only. Okay, so then we try to run this command again, Docker composer. Then we see what are happen, what things happen. So here you can see a different object is created. Link. Okay. That's the basic stuff. Okay. So if you are stuck with these types of things, let me clear this time why how you can exit from these types of things. Just not use this. No. This don't use this. Just use this command. That is the command when you edited some files, then it will changes and based on the your newly created file, it will be inserted the code. So if this time if you see ID object source content and app one, these both are inserted one. So that means that our what we can say. Okay, so our port mapping is done. Okay, so if you see it here, uh, yes, there is a port mapping, na. That's why we can say that our entries are saved. If the port mapping is not here, then we can't successfully add it. Okay, so that is the thing. I think all of you clear about this point. So just we move forward and whatever this code explains, MongoDB URL, Mongo client that records is a database, links is a collection inside that there is a one entry, and every time that prints link. So okay, simple command by which Docker use newer images. Okay, so if you want to, yes, that's why how this command is needed. In previous time, you clearly see that if you run the previous command, then previous code is running. The new code which you have inserted, like if you write that at the rate source content inserted, this will be not inserted. Why? Because it works on a previous file, so previous image. But this time you have to make a new image where uh, you have to run a different query. You have to run at the source content. So that's why you have to need a new command that is here mentioned. Docker compose up build. Okay, so that is the object and all of the stuff source content. This means simply we add the this collection in links when we try Docker compose command. After we run Docker compose command, you see that inside a new entry, the previous Mongo data is not present. When not present, when we off the Docker compose down. Okay, so I think might be here both containers are in running file. Give me a second. So here you can see only one query is there. That thing here written. If a container is running, okay, then again you try to run firstly, I start a container where source content.com is inserted on our database. Okay. Then again, I try to running the container because without offing the previous container. Then again, I write the container, so it will be added to entries on the same database. But if I want to if I just start the container, insert the entry, then close our container, then the data will be lost and vanishes. If we again try to run this, then only one the newer insertion will be occur. That is the app one. You see it here clearly. So that means that here is a problem with Docker. If you want to overcome this problem, so just edit some YAML files and port number. Actually, in my device, I can't make a successful uh, and like my device is not able to communicate with the database right now. But this thing will happen if without the port mapping. If you have done the port mapping, then this thing will be overcome. After we again run the Docker compose, you see that again we don't persist data in YAML file. We just use Mongo images. That's why every time brand new container is created. Okay. So these all of the notes are there. You will get after the what we can say after the session. Okay, so simple command is यहाँ तक हम लोगों ने पूरा कर लिया था. So simple note. If you want to list all volumes in your database, just write docker volume list. Okay, this is the simple command, yeah. Okay, just control C. Docker volume list. These all the list of volumes. So these are the list of volumes present in my desktop. Oh, in my Docker container. Okay, so important. It is possible to start all container using Docker Compose. This is very helpful in your project. Sometimes you have to start containers in background. So just use this command. That's why I write the simple note it here. So till here, I just covered whatever the concept left. Like in this, like today, I'll cover what is the difference between Docker Compose and Docker Dash Compose. So the difference between this is only that यार कि वो different type का network create कर सकता है, वो different type के containers का name create कर सकता है, जो कि यहाँ पे आप लोगों ने देखा भी होगा कि इसमें different है और इसमें different है. So ये सारी points matter करती हैं. इसमें मैंने code डाला था कि एक insert करूंगा मैं अपने database में, जो कि मैं सक्सेसफुली सर्च कर पाया. लेकिन अगर कंटेनर स्टार्ट है हमारा और तब हम सेकंड इंसर्शन करना चाहते हैं, तो हम फिर से वही पाइथन कंपोज रन वाला कमांड यूज करेंगे और बिल्ड के साथ. तो हमारा क्या होगा, दूसरी एंट्री हो जाएगी. लेकिन अगर हम चाहते हैं कि हम कंटेनर को ऑफ कर दें और फिर दोबारा रन करें और तब भी वो प्रीवियस डेटा इंसर्टेड रहे, तो ऐसा नहीं होता है. विदाउट पोर्ट मैपिंग ये पॉसिबल नहीं है. लेकिन अगर आप सक्सेसफुली डेटाबेस से पोर्ट मैपिंग करा लेते हैं तो ये पॉसिबल है. और पोर्ट मैपिंग का कोड आपको YAML फाइल में इंटीग्रेशन लिखना होगा. So that is the thing here. There is a simple concept. The important note सबसे ज़्यादा use होता है. It is also possible to start all containers using Docker Compose in background. Just add /d option to start all containers in background. If you want to list all volumes in your database, just write this. So till here, I summarized uh, what thing I am talking about. So just at the starting portion, I discuss about the difference between Docker versus virtual machines. So I just discussed that there is a like what dynamic allocation, and what Docker shares their resources, but virtual machines not share their resources. Sometimes share, but most of the time not share. Like virtual machines contain operating system, Docker doesn't have its own operating system. If you with me from my first presentation, then you understand what is the difference. I explain each and every concept in the first lecture of my Docker. So after that, Docker containers, the containers is based on the images, and containers are running based on the images. That images may be in your local cache, that images may be present your Docker hub. So what is Docker client? If you just open the Docker PowerShell and just write the Docker only, then it will connect. That Docker only will signifies that your desktop is access to your Docker host. We can say Docker engine. So here Docker, your desktop local is client, and the Docker daemon which is present in the engine portion is used as a server. Okay, so Docker client is a Docker server. I explained Docker daemon. If right, I am trying to find an image. If that image, just I write the image name. If firstly it will check present on my local cache. If the image is not present, the request goes to the Docker hub portion. And if the image present on here, but not my local cache, then it will pull that image to my what we can say local machine, and the image is there. Okay, so image is what a set of file system layers, are read only file system layers. If you create a container based on a particular image, then in that image an FS layers will be increased. So you can create you can create multiple containers based on a single image. What is Docker files? If you want to create a custom images, then you have to insert use this Docker file. In the Docker file, you have to like line by line mention what is the particular code. Here you can see I created a particular custom image. This I just want these all of the steps and together, and this is the main code and all of the steps. So these are the things which I am trying to tell you about. And after that, just what Docker files is completed, Docker compose with the help of a single command, you can run all the utilities. Okay, so you can run with the help of single command all the things which are required. Okay, so till here, I just concluded Docker versus virtual machines, containers, client images, servers, Docker files, and all of this stuff. Docker Compose. With the help of single command, you can run multiple containers, and inside that multiple containers, you can run your services. So yeah, if you want to run a particular code. So if there is no process is running inside the container, container might be off in the off states. Like go in the stopped container section. So that is the case. If you want to run all the time, then you must taken care of that container must be running in the running phase. Like service is going on to flow motion. If there is not a motion between like incoming and outgoing, then it will be stopped, and that was the problem. So thank you, we all. I just completed the basic Docker till here. If you have any doubt, then comment on this. And guys, don't be hesitate on Docker because sometimes the concepts are taken some time. And uh, after the Docker, basic Docker, I just started a new topic. After that, I will revise all of the stuff that I tell from the starting of our sessions. So thank you, you all. Thank you.
So can you guys able to hear my voice?
Yes,
Yes,
Ketan.
but your screen is not visible right now.
Okay, wait a minute. Now can you able to see the screen? Hello?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So please confirm whether you all can see the screen as well as you can hear my voice so that I can proceed further.
Yeah, I'm waiting. What are you trying to explain? So please
Okay.
start right now.
Okay, okay. So today, as many of the members are not there because of some of their own personal tasks, so as I am continuing with my SQL series, so as many of the members are not available today, so I am not covering today the part related to the SQL. So today I am covering the some of the important things related to HTTP protocols or related to the server. And finally, the main surprise for today is today we are building our own HTTP server by using Node.js and Express.js. So this is for today. So are you guys excited?
Yes.
Okay, and one thing also, firstly I will do some theory part and then after I will implement how to make a basic server related to Express.js, Node.js, and as well as basic things. So, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Keshav, and today I will start my presentation related to the server related things and HTTP protocols. Firstly, I will cover the HTTP protocols, and then after I will cover one basic projects how we can create a our own server using the Node.js as well as Express. So I will start now. So this is the thing that I will cover. Wait a minute so that I will see if anyone else wants to come, then he or she can. Wait a minute, I will. Okay. No one is there right now. Okay. So this is the topic HTTP protocols. We will see the things related to HTTP protocol, understanding the basic terms related to protocols, and we will see the some of the things with the help of ChatGPT also, like how the ChatGPT sends his request to its server, and then how the response will we will get. That also we will see today. So firstly, we will see the basic differences. I will not spend more time on these basic things like what is client and what is server, because previously when I am covering the series related to JavaScript, at that time I have already covered these things like what is client side, what is server side. So just now I will read what is client side and what is server side. The client side is just basically the one system who is sending the request to get something out of it from the server. So that is basically the client side, mainly our personal desktops or laptops. So these are basically the client sides. The here are the 3 points like end user interface, front end logic, and user interaction. These are the parts that are there inside client side. And server side, we basically write the logic, and server is also only the responsible who is responsible for sending the exact answer what the client actually wants. So this is the server side. Server side basically contains the logic about how the data will be processed, and then after send it to the client who is requesting for that data. And we write backend logic also in the server side only. And wait a minute. Huh. And we run a server. So these are the 3 points that are covered basically inside the server side. So I will not cover these basic theory parts in brief, because I have already discussed previously, I think in PPTs 1 or 2, when I am covering the series related to Node.js and JavaScript. So now next is this is how the cycle works. Let's say this is a client computers or a normal PC, and by this PC we are entering some URL. Here you can see this is a user. Let's say this user is Rudransh, and he is trying to accessing some site by entering the URL of that site in the any of the browsers like Chrome. So when he will enter the, let's say this is a browser, and inside that browser in the search section he is writing his URL like http colon and then double slash and then google.com, and then after he will click on enter. Then after the HTTP request is sent to our web server, and when web server gets that request, the request that the client will send, either that request will be in the form of get request, or that will be request in the form of post request and other request also, that I will cover on my further slide. But remember one thing, when the client will send any HTTP request to the server, then that request can be in the form of methods. Methods can be like get, because method name can be get also, post also, put also, and these type of other methods also. I will cover this in my next slide. So when the Rudransh will enter this URL, and after entering that URL, when he will click enter, then that request will move to the server, and server will do all the processes. So that all the processes and applied the backend logic, and then after send the required files which the client actually wants. So let's say the required file will be the hello world. So when the web server applied his logic, then after he will send, sorry, it will not any man type of things. It is actually a machine. So that after a machine will send that uh, file, and the file will contain the hello world. Then after client will receive what he exactly wants from the server. So this is how the basic request response cycle will work. When the client sends the request to the server, and server will get back some response out of it. So this is how the internal processing works. Now from here, actually the important things starts. So the thing, because in our case, what we are doing, we are actually want to create something as from the client side, and by creating the client side, client actually wants to send something request to the server, and from that server we want something the files we want something as a response which the client actually wants. So that is the main thing which actually we want, which actually the client wants. So we must remember the two things. Firstly, the things client needs to worry about. तो clients को कौन कौन सी चीजों का ध्यान रखना चाहिए वो हम लोग पहले देखेंगे. Wait a minute. Whether my voice is coming, please anyone give me the confirmation. Hello.
Yes, yes, your voice is clearly coming and
Okay.
visuals are also.
Okay. Thank you, Rudansh. Now we will see what are the things that the actually clients needs to worry about. So these are the 5 things, mainly the 5 things. There are many things also, but while making the server, the one who is making the server, he must have to worry about the things related to clients also, and the related to him also as a backend developer also, as a server developer also. So the one who is actually making this server, he must have to he must have to know the basic terminologies related to the browser, how browser works, and how actually the server will get the request that the client is actually wants, that he will enter in the browser, and browser actually hit with that request to the server, and server will process that request and again send the response of that request again back to the client. So these all things must have to be worried about by the one who is implementing the server or who is trying to building the server. So the one who is trying to building the server must know about the things related to client or related to browser. We can assume client here as a browser also, because the main machine from where the client will send the request is actually the your browser, which is there in your local machines. So with the help of browser only, we are sending the request to the server. So the things which with the man who is building the server needs to be remember related to clients are, first thing is protocols. Whether the client is using HTTP protocol or HTTPS protocol, which is a secured protocol, the one who is implementing the server must have to worry about these things. And next one is address, URL, IP, or port, which means the URL which is exactly here in the previous example where I've considered this man, which is actually a Rudransh. So Rudransh will enter something as a link in the actual search box in the browser. So he must have to worry about this thing also, because this URL contains many things. This URL contains basically the URL, and the next thing is IP, and next thing is port, because URL is attached with some IP address, because every machine in this world which is actually a computer machine is having a IP assigned with it. So when you enter the URL, so actually what you actually want, मतलब होता ही है कि जैसे अगर आप किसी ब्राउजर पे आप URL कोई डालते हैं, तो वो URL किसी एक मशीन की IP से लिंक होती है। तो जब आपने जैसे URL डाला www.google.com, https://www.google.com, अगर मैं आपको डेमो दिखाऊं तो, एक मिनट, किसी को अब तक कोई डाउट तो नहीं है अब तक जो अभी हमने बताया?
No, no.
तो लेट्स से मैं यहाँ पे, वेट अ मिनट, तो जैसे मैंने यहाँ पे डाला https://www.gw.com, then I will present, अरे यार, let's say it is a youtube.com, that's our channel only, like source content. So when I will hit this URL, here you can see this URL contains, first thing is here, wait a minute, first thing is as HTTPS, which is basically the protocol HTTPS, which is a secured protocol. Next thing is URL, which is www.youtube.com, and next thing is source content. So this is basically the routes which is there inside your full URL. So here you can see this is a URL which is www.youtube.com. So this URL is actually linked with some IP. सो होता ये है कि जब हम ये URL टाइप करते हैं www.youtube.com, तो ये किसी एक आईपी से लिंक्ड होती है। आईपी का मतलब वो किसी एक मशीन से लिंक्ड है, और वो मशीन एक्चुअली मेरा सर्वर की तरह काम कर रहा है। तो जब हम youtube.com डालते हैं तो वो पहले आईपी ढूंढता है। आईपी जब उसको पता चल जाता है तो आईपी को जाके हिट करती है मेरी रिक्वेस्ट, और वो आईपी एक मशीन को अलॉटेड होती है जिसमें मेरा सर्वर, एक्चुअली वो मशीन ही मेरा सर्वर होता है। तो मेरा यूट्यूब के सर्वर पे जाती है रिक्वेस्ट, वहां से रिक्वेस्ट बैक होके आती है। तो जैसे हम इसको अभी हिट करते हैं तो एंटर किया, तो ये हमारा चैनल आप लोग देख सकते हैं, दिस इज आवर चैनल वेयर वी रेगुलरली पोस्ट all the videos in every weekend that we will cover. So this is a very amazing platform. If anybody wants interested to learn or gain some experience and build their confidence while speaking, or while speaking their technical skills to someone, so this is a very amazing platform. If anyone wants to join, then he or she can join. So so after this much of promotion, I will tell you what is actually going on. So here where I will do the inspect part. Inspect. So wait a minute. So when you will right click on this and then after you will click on inspect, then this window you will is open. Wait a minute. So when you will get this window, then after you have to move to this network section. So here I will make you see that how this request is going and how I will get the response out of it. So so here you can see right now I will remove this first. Then I'm not getting that button where I will clear that screen. Here's the button. So here you can see you are inside right now. You are inside this network section. So when I will refresh this page again, so here you please notice that जब मैं refresh करूंगा ये पेज तो इस YouTube वाला ये YouTube जो मेरी लिंक है youtube.com तो इस पे एक रिक्वेस्ट जनरेट होगी मेरे ब्राउजर के द्वारा. तो अब देखना जब मैं रिफ्रेश करूंगा here you can see lot of request and response you are getting. So these are the all request and response I am getting. So here you can see the first one is @source content. So where I want to make I want to make one of the thing clear that here where you see this document. So document is actually the browser. So here browser is sending some request. Wait a minute. Here browser is sending some request to this @source content, which is there inside the YouTube. When I will hover this, here you can see this is actually the link https://youtube.com/@source content. So browser is initiating. Who is initiator? Wait a minute. Other. Sorry, one thing I have made it wrong. Other here it is written other. So other here is the actually the your own browser who is sending request to this link https www.youtube.com. When I will click on this, here you can see this is the main where I am requesting my what I am requesting. I am requesting some of the response, and I have sending request to this URL. So this type of the method through which I am sending this request is the get method. So I will cover this what is get method, post method in brief later on. But you have to just notice two things only here. What is request URL? The request URL is just a link where your browser is actually sending the request. So this is basically the link. And next one is request method. So through which type of method you are sending the request, that is the covers inside this request method. And status code is the basically the number which the server will send you as a response, which means if let's say here right now is 302, so which means 30 means is found. So here you can see the actually the request which I am sending to the server when he will do his own process. So after going through his own process, going through its own process, the server actually finds that response which the client actually wants. So he with that response he will send the status code also. So here the server send me the status code as 302, which means server founds actually those files which the client actually wants. So this is the status code. So rest all the things you can see. And preview. So preview I will cover this later on. So these are all the things. Later one thing I also wants to highlight that this is a cookie part. Wait a minute. That is the cookie part. So I will cover this in later on. Wait a minute. So this is basically the terminology how your browser is sending the request. So here you can see initiator. Initiator means where the initiator is other, which means actually your own browser. So other here means your own browser is sending the request to this link. The link here is https. This here you can see when I hover this @source content here in white box inside there is a URL. So actually your browser is hitting the request to this URL, and with these all other files your server is also setting the status code also 302 like 206 200. So these are the status code. So this much I think clear by you all. Anything if any doubt then you can ask. Anyone is having any doubt?
No, No, but Keshav, wait a second. Like you tell that with the help of URL slash we can write and inside that add the rate source content all of you. Uh, First, tell me one thing. When we on go on the directory portion, okay.
Hmm.
So in that directory portion, we also have a first name the root directory, then slash inside that many folders are present. Then that many folders are present. Just write the folder name which I want to open. Just slash again, and inside that many files are present. So can the network works on that process? Whatever the directories when we change the directory, same command we write. Can the network is also in a full network inside that a sub part of that where you get the file. Okay, so is this type of a
Actually,
thing?
I get you what you are asking to me. I get you what you really wants to ask to me. So that thing is basically the route handling part. So where in route handling part we actually uh, make a one folder, and inside that folder we can embed we can resides many other files also. But when we create a route handler, I will cover this in just wait a minute, Rudransh. After 2 to 3 slides, when I will show you practically how this all works, then it will be easy for you to grasp the things. Please wait.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I will practically show you how these all things are work. So right now if I will explain you, then it will not clear.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the things here I had shown you just now what is HTTP, what is HTTPS with the link, and what is URL. So URL is in as in previous example I have shown you, URL is www.youtube.com, and that URL is actually linked with some IP. So one thing I want to told you that when you will press the Windows R, and then after you will write CMD and then press enter. So if you, this is the extra thing that you must have to know. So if you want to know your own personal computer IP address, then you can write as IP config and then press enter. So when you will press after this, wait a minute, after this command IP config, you will get this address as IPv4 address. So this is the actual IP of your desktop. So please notice this point. This is the important one. You must have to know.
What command you run? I
IP config,
see.
Windows R and then CMD. So this will open the your CLI of your, and then
If
after,
you remember,
wait, what?
if you remember that at the starting of my Docker, I just write if config. Okay.
Hmm.
If
Yes,
you
yes.
remember that in the
You have,
Docker portion,
you have right which command?
the command uh, that I remember that if config.
If nahi, is there any command? I don't hear that command. If config, I heard about IP config.
IP config. Okay. IP config. Okay.
IP config.
That
Yes.
is the
So
yeah.
that is
Here also in the containers portion, this command also work.
oh,
If you want to know what is the IP address of a container.
okay. So that's good, Rudransh. So in local machines, or your if you want to see your IP address of your local machine, then also at that time also you can use this command to see your IP address. So here you can see this is the IP address of your system. So right now my IP address of my system is this 192.168.45.35. So this is, and other things also. The other things I don't know much about this. So when there is a need, then after I will tell you. But right now, I don't think it's there anyway. So I have covered what is URL, what is IP, and next one is port. So port I will show you when I will do the practical implementation. Next one is route. Route also I will tell you afterward. Now next thing is headers, body, and query parameters. So wait a minute. Headers, body, and uh, ready. So rest all the things I will cover when I will do the practical stuff. So right now you just have to notice two things only: protocols, what is protocol, and what are the address. Rest three things I will cover. Please wait for some slides, and then after I will cover. So now next is what are the things that the servers thinks that's why sorry, I will repeat this again. So what are the things that the developer might need to worry about when he is trying to making the server? So when the developer is trying to implement the server, these are the things that the developer must to have to worry about. So, what is the what are the three things? The three things are the response header. Next is the response body, and third one is status codes. So, response header is just actually what you are getting as a response. So, I will show you what is this. So, when I wait a minute, I will open Chrome again. So, when I have just like Google, Google and press here the first link. So when let's say I want to write like cat. So when I will press enter, here you are getting something as a response in the form of HTML. So this is basically the one who is who have created the server of this Google. He has decided that when this query will execute like cat, then after executing this query in response, I have to send this HTML file only. So this is the things that the one who is creating the server must have to worry about. So in the response header, he have to send this HTML file only. Now next is a response body. So wait a minute. हाँ सॉरी आई हैव स्पीकन वन थिंग रॉन्ग, एक चीज गलत हो गई है। जो मैंने अभी बताया कि आपने जब ये हिट करा सर्वर तो उसके बाद कुछ रिस्पांस आपको मिला एज ए एचटीएमएल कंटेंट, तो वो जो रिस्पांस था वो मेरी एक्चुअली रिस्पांस बॉडी है। सर्वर हेडर्स वो होता है तो रिस्पांस बॉडी के साथ अटैच होके आता है। लाइक जब मैंने कैट हिट किया तो तब आप लोग देख सकते हैं कि ये जो मेरी यूआरएल है फुल, ये मेरी इसके द्वारा आई है, ये भी मेरी सर्वर ने मुझे सेंड की है। तो ये एक्चुअली मेरा सर्वर मुझे रिस्पॉन्स हेडर में ये सब चीजें सेंड करता है। दिस इज द actually the link which the server is actually sending me as a response, and this is the response body which I am getting as a response back from the server. So these are the two things. One thing is response
I
header.
adding one thing.
Uh, Wait a minute, what?
I am adding one thing, Keshav.
Yes,
If
you
you
can.
write IP config command, then
Hmm.
this command is valid Windows. Okay. But if you write if config, I am correct on that time also. If config command is used in Linux machine to get the network configuration files. Okay. So here, if config is valid in a Linux machine or Docker container to get the network configuration.
Okay, Rudrans, that's the
Both
new
the
thing.
commands are,
I don't know this.
yes.
So thanks
That's
for
why I just tried, I just see my previous presentation. I check the command that is the if config command. If you run this on a Linux machine, that will simply give you a IP address and network configuration of that Unix machine. You can continue.
Okay. So that's a very good thing. You have added something that I also don't know. So right now I'm very excited that the ones who are there or who are actually there inside our meeting, who are actually as a participant, they also can add many things in between, which the one who is representing something. So this is a very good thing. Thank you, Rudransh.
That
Now,
will that that fulfill our aim of source content.
yes. So now next thing is wait a minute. Anyone I think is there. Yes. Wait a minute, guys. Okay. Uh, Sorry for this inconvenience. Hmm. So now next thing is state. Okay, the meeting will end in 10 minutes. No. So now next thing is, so these are next thing is status code. So status code I have just tell you. So with the response body and response header, the server also send the status code which tells whether the actually the files which the client actually wants, whether he will receive that file without any malfunctioning or without any disruption in between, whether he properly received that file. So if if the client properly received that file without any problem, then status code at that time the server will send the status code as 200. So when the client actually receives the his response answer correctly, so at that time the server will respond with the status code as 200, and other status code also, like if the server, if the client does not get the proper response, then at that time the server also sends the status code as 500, like server is not up like this. So I will cover this when the time comes. So now next thing is things that happen in. So now I will tell you. Wait a minute. So things that happen in your browser after you fire this request. So we will see, like when here I have already told you, like if there is a link like https://chat openai.com backend API conversion. So here you can see this first one is the protocol, which is actually the HTTPS. So this whole thing I am talking about is actually in the when I am considering the part as a client. So at that time, client is sending this link to the server for hitting the server. So with this link contains the three things. Basically, first one is protocol, second one is URL, and third one is route. So route is basically the folder inside file. So this all the things is there inside the route. I will cover this in brief. So when wait a minute. So this thing is happen in your browser when you fire this request. We will get to know to fire request to the backend server later. So now next thing is browser parsers if हाँ. So now जब आप URL को एंटर करते हैं अपने ब्राउजर में, तो सबसे पहले जो URL होता है उसका एक DNS लुकअप होता है. DNS लुकअप का मतलब जैसे google.com आपने डाला तो वो पहले किसी आईपी से लिंक्ड होगा. तो सबसे पहले google.com का एक आईपी जो होता है वो आपको मिलेगा. सो जब आईपी मिलता है उसके बाद प्रॉपरली जो मेरा क्लाइंट मशीन होती है वो सर्वर से हैंडशेक करती है, तो उसको बोलते हैं प्रॉपर हैंडशेक हो जाना, यानी कि प्रॉपर कनेक्शन एस्टेब्लिश हो जाना. तो इसको बोलते हैं डीएनएस हैंडशेक और डीएनएस लुकअप. जब मेरी वॉइस आ रही है वेदांत, कैन एनीवन प्लीज कंफर्म?
Yes, Keshav.
ओके. सो जब मैंने ये ब्राउजर पे अपना यूआरएल डाला तो सबसे पहले यूआरएल का डीएनएस लुकअप होता है, यानी कि डीएनएस लुकअप में जो यूआरएल है उसकी जो सबसे पहले चेक होता है कि यूआरएल उस यूआरएल पे करॉस्पॉन्डिंग आईपी कौन सी लिंक है. तो जब आईपी प्रॉपरली लिंक होती है, आईपी अवेलेबल होती है, यानी कि सर्वर अवेलेबल होता है, तो मेरा प्रॉपर हैंडशेक होता है दो मशीन्स के बीच में. फर्स्ट मशीन होती है क्लाइंट मशीन और सेकंड मशीन होती है मेरी सर्वर मशीन. तो ये होता है. तो डीएनएस रेजोल्यूशन क्या होता है? व्हाट इज डीएनएस रेजोल्यूशन? So, one thing, because today I am suffering from mouth ulcer, so I can't able to speak properly. So please cooperate with me. So, firstly, we will see the question as what is DNS resolution. So, URL are just like the contacts in your phone. In the end, they map to an IP. If you ever buy a URL of your own, you will need to point it to the IP of your server. तो देखो होता ये है, जब हम डोमेन खरीदते हैं, डोमेन का मतलब यूआरएल खरीदते हैं, तो हमने डोमेन खरीदा यानी कि यूआरएल खरीदा. यूआरएल एक सर्वर मशीन वो मशीन होती है जहां से तुम्हारा एक्चुअल सर्वर कोड होता है. तो उस डोमेन को एक आईपी असाइन होती है, वो आईपी तुम्हारे सर्वर मशीन की होती है. ये तीनों चीजें प्रॉपरली जब आप कोई वो खरीदते हैं डोमेन, तब ये सब रजिस्टर्ड किया जाता है. तो डोमेन के अपने चार्जेस होते हैं, सब प्लेटफॉर्म अपना अपना चार्जेस लेते हैं डोमेन के हिसाब से. जो जैसे एग्जांपल ऑफ डोमेन लाइक domain server like Netlify gives you the domain services, and next one is like GoDaddy gives you the domain related services. So these are the DNS
So
resolution.
for these, all of the interaction, which framework or is there any framework required to connect with all of this, whatever URL I want?
I don't think so. Is there need of any framework? Framework like actually, I really don't know the answer of your question. Whether there can be the framework or not, but till right now I don't know the right now I
I
don't know the.
want to know. I want to know if you know, then tell me that in one of the sessions, my teacher asked me to what is the differentiate between what personally what I am trying to ask to you is what is the use of Express.js. Can if you know then explain. Otherwise, in next session you explain.
That I can tell you. So एक्सप्रेस जेएस क्या होता है? जैसे नोड जेएस का काम क्या है? जब मेरी इनिशियल फेज में जावास्क्रिप्ट डेवलप हुई थी, तो ब्राउजर जो मेरा था वो एचटीएमएल सीएसएस और जावास्क्रिप्ट ही केवल समझता था. तो रेहान डेल एक जो डेवलपर थे, उन्होंने क्या किया, मेरे जावास्क्रिप्ट को एक्सट्रैक्ट आउट कर दिया और एक्सट्रैक्ट आउट करने के बाद बाहर निकाल लिया, जिससे कि जो नॉर्मल यूजर है वो जावास्क्रिप्ट का कोड विदाउट एनी ब्राउजर, मतलब ब्राउजर बिना चलाए, बिना नोड जेएस, क्योंकि उन्होंने जावास्क्रिप्ट को एक्सट्रैक्ट करके एक नोड जेएस नाम का प्लेटफॉर्म बना दिया जिसपे हम लोग जावास्क्रिप्ट का जो कोड है वो रन कर सके, उसका आउटपुट देख सके। अब हुआ ये, जावास्क्रिप्ट के नॉर्मल प्रोग्राम्स हम लोग बना पा रहे थे, लेकिन जब हम लोग पूरा ज्यादातर फ्रंट एंड का काम जब जावास्क्रिप्ट में ही कर पा रहे थे, तो किसी ने ये सोचा, जो देयर आर मल्टीपल स्मार्ट डेवलपर्स हु हैव डिसाइडेड अर्लियर that right now many of the front end related things we can implement it with JavaScript only. So why we can't use this JavaScript for the backend logic also? तो जब बैकएंड लॉजिक के लिए जावास्क्रिप्ट का यूज आया, तो उस समय पे जो बैकएंड का वो जावास्क्रिप्ट जो बैकएंड के सर्वर्स को बना सके, उस जावास्क्रिप्ट का नाम रखा गया एक्सप्रेस जेएस। ये इन एक्सप्रेस जेएस ओनली वी यूज द बेसिक सिंटेक्स। देखो एक्सप्रेस जेएस में भी जो बेसिक सिंटेक्स होता है वो जावास्क्रिप्ट का ही होता है, लेकिन एक्सप्रेस जेएस वो हम लोग को फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड करता है, वो प्री डिफाइंड फंक्शंस प्रोवाइड करता है जो कि होते जावास्क्रिप्ट में ही है, लेकिन वो फंक्शंस एक्चुअली हम लोगों को बैकएंड सर्वर स्टैब्लिश करने में यूज होते हैं। जो और वो जो एक्सप्रेस जेएस लाइब्रेरी जो ये फंक्शंस हम लोग को प्रोवाइड करती है, वो हम किस प्लेटफॉर्म में यूज कर सकते हैं? वो नोड जेएस के प्लेटफॉर्म में यूज कर सकते हैं। तो दिस इज हाउ दीज ऑल टेक्नोलॉजीज आर लिंक्ड। एनीथिंग अदर रुद्रांश?
So you are trying to say that it is a framework or a programming language or a model. Give me.
Express is actually a library which you can import while you are working with Node.js, because with the help of Node.js only you can do any of the tasks related to JavaScript. So if your task is to build the backend logic, then at that time Node.js is basically the platform where you will import this Express.js library, and then after Express.js library will provide you the basic requirements that you want, that you actually wants when you while you are creating the server part. So that's the main thing.
Okay, so it is a library, not a
Yes.
framework.
No.
A
Express is
program.
it is a library.
It is a library provided by JavaScript.
Yes. So where
Okay,
by
continue.
library you can basically performs the logic related to backend development.
Okay, continue.
Now next thing is I will research more on this topic what you have asked today, and if I will get some more information, then I will cover when in the future when I will cover this
In
part.
one of the sessions, Keso, please take an architecture overview of all the stuffs, not a
Okay.
particular topic.
Okay. So
That's
now
for the basics because when one of my teacher asked me that what is the basic architecture, then architecture is matters a lot.
okay, I will cover this. Definitely I will cover this. But right now you all have to leave this meeting. I will create new meeting, and you all have to join with the same link that I've already provided you. So please leave this meeting. So please give me please give me the confirmation whether they all can able to see my screen and hear my voice.
Yes, Keshav. It is visible and audio is also clear.
Okay, thank you, Vedant. So right now I have talked about what are the things that the developer must have to worry about as per the if he was trying to build the server, and he has to worry about the on the basis of client side or client side, or basically worried about the browser things. So client must have to worry about these all things, like these things: protocol, address, route, header, body, query parameters, and next one is method. And for server side, he has to worry about this response headers, response body, and status codes. So now next thing is things that happen on a server after the request is received. So when the client hit the URL, it basically means the client is wants to access something, and that request is received to this server part. Server will receive that request. So after getting that request, So these are the things in which the request can come to the server. So the format in which the request can come to the server can be in the form of headers, can be in the form of body, and and the request comes firstly in the route section. So I will cover this each part: what is route, what is body, what is header in brief. Please wait for some time. So right now just have to focus like when the client is sending the request and the request is received by the server, then that request comes to the server firstly in route, and then after it and when it will receive to the route, and then we will check whether the format which the route has received, so the format of the request, whether it is in the form of body or it is in the form of headers. सो होता है कि जब मैं क्लाइंट अपनी रिक्वेस्ट सेंड करता है तो पहले वो राउट के पास आती है, फिर राउट के पास देखा जाता है कि वो रिक्वेस्ट आई मेरी बॉडी के फॉर्मेट में आई कि हेडर्स द्वारा आई है। ये मैं अभी कवर करूंगा, बॉडी क्या है, हेडर्स क्या है। सो जब मेरे पास ये रिक्वेस्ट आ जाती है तो हम सेकंड पॉइंट देखते क्या है, यू शुड डू सम लॉजिक ऑन द इनपुट, कैलकुलेट द आउटपुट। सो अकॉर्डिंग टू द parameters received by the client, we must have to perform some logic so that so that with the help of those inputs which the server has received, so after applying some algorithm or logic over that input, the server has to generate some output which he again sends back to the client as a response. So this thing must have to worried about by the server. Now next thing is you return the output body in the form of headers and status code. So this thing I've already tell you, server sends the response to the client in the form of response header, response body, as well as in status code. So here you can see this is the server. So server can sends uh, the response or output in the form of three things. First one is response header, or as a link what the client will see on the browser. Now next thing is response body. Response body can be the plain text also, can be in the form of HTML also, can be in the form of other files also. And next one is the status code. So if all the connections built successfully and the client will receive all the things perfectly, then then in status code the response will be 200. So these things the developer has to worry about while building the server. Till here, if anyone is having any doubt, then he can ask. He or she can ask.
No doubt.
Any doubt, anyone?
No doubt.
Okay. Now next thing is uh, hmm. So usually communication would happen like this. So here in this diagram, you will see how actually the communications will happen. So client will actually write this URL in the browser section. URL contains this protocol URL, what is actually the server name, and this actually this URL is linked with some IP. And next one is what is the actually route, what is actually the correct path for getting the exact file from the server which the client actually wants. So these things will sent by the client. So with the help of these things, client can send this header also, with body also, with some method post also. So I forget to explain you one thing. Please wait a minute. So here you can see in this example, here it is written in very small letters in this second row. It is written header cookie and then some random gibberish. So and in this third row, it is written body. What is 2 plus 2, and in last it is written method post. So I will show this thing practically with the help uh, with the help of ChatGPT. So what is actually going on? Wait a minute. This is very interesting part, so please try to focus. So here you can see this is actually how ChatGPT is. Yeah, wait a minute. Hmm. Huh. So this is actually the home page of the ChatGPT. So here, right now you can see this is a search box where I will write my query. Let's say I will write what is 2 plus 2 and then question mark. So right now, when I will do the inspect part, when I will open this inspect part of this browser and open this network section, as you can see, nothing is there. So, but when I will this after writing this query, when I will press this arrow up arrow button, here you can see lot of request is getting, and we will get some response back after some time. Wait a minute, why I'm not getting response? I'm getting the so my question is what is 2 plus 2, and in response I am getting 2 plus 2 equals to 4. So basically I want to tell you, अरे यार ये कैसे हटेगा? Can anyone tell me how can I remove this part? Remove.
What Keshav?
What, Keshav?
Actually, you can't able to see this part. So one who is actually sharing the screen can only able to see this random row which contains the mic, video button, participants, chat, share, pause. Is all.
So that is the stuff. Okay. So you can't skip with the stuffs. These are the inbuilt stuffs.
Okay, okay.
You just minimize the screen and whatever you want to screen share that is the.
Okay, so these are the things that Zoom has to uh, Zoom have to think about. So don't
But
worry,
we have to
Rudrash.
make.
So don't worry, Rudrash. One day
But
will come when we will make our own platform like this, and
yes,
in that platform we will remove all these things that makes problem while sharing the screen.
yes.
Okay, so that's a jokes apart. Now next is what I am trying to say. Let's say I have written one query. What is 2 plus 2? And when I written this query in response, I am getting 2 plus 2 equals to 4. So now I will see the what is this slide is actually wants to saying to me. So I have opened this URL. In this URL, I will leave this second row. I will tell this afterward. Now in body section, I have written what is 2 plus 2. So actually here it is the body actually. What is 2 plus 2? So in response and with that body I am getting this method post because I am posting this query, and when I will post something and after posting that thing I will get some response. So here you can see when I will write when I will hit anything or sends any query in the with the help of method post. So actually you can see also this wait a minute. So this thing, firstly the request URL is like https ab chat gpt v1 rgstr. So this is the request URL, and this request you have sent with the help of method called post. So you have posted this request in this chat gpt folder, and in response what you are getting, so here you when you will click on this response button, in response it is showing to you success, which means you are correctly getting what you actually wants as a response. And actually how response looks like, so response you can see in preview. Wait a minute. Not in preview. Wait a minute. I will show you where you can see. Um, wait, I will again refresh this page. Hmm. So response you can get, I think, in this part. There is this response headers. एंड दिस इज हाँ वन थिंग आई मस्ट वांट टू टेल यू दैट ये जो आप लोग देख रहे हैं ये कुकी, ये जो आप देख रहे हैं कुकी, ये कुकी क्या होता है, हर एक अकाउंट का फिक्स्ड होता है। तो अगर जैसे मान लो किसी ने चैट जीपीटी 4 वर्जन खरीदा पे, जो कि पेड वर्जन है, अगर हम उस जिसने वो वर्जन खरीदा है, अगर हम उसका कुकी किसी भी तरह से एक्सेस कर लेते हैं, तो उस कुकी का यूज करके हम लोग अब उसी का अकाउंट अपने में भी लॉग इन कर सकते हैं विदाउट गेटिंग दैट मैन्स ओरिजिनल ईमेल एड्रेस एज वेल एज पासवर्ड। तो उसकी ओरिजिनल अकाउंट की डिटेल्स एक्सेस करे बिना अगर हम उसका कुकी एक्सेस कर सकते हैं, और उसका और किसी भी मेथोडोलॉजी से उसका कुकी अपने सिस्टम से उसका कुकी अप्लाइड कर देते हैं बाय यूजिंग वेरियस साइबर रिलेटेड थिंग्स, तब हम लोग उसका जो वो है उसका अकाउंट इजीली एक्सेस कर सकते हैं अपने नॉर्मल ब्राउजर में। सो कुकी वी डोंट हैव टू शेयर विद एनीवन, सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस थिंग। we never have to share any of the cookies with anyone. Here you can see this is my cookie. I can't show you all full of my cookie. So please be aware about this. So ये हो गया what is 2 plus 2 and response I am getting 2 plus 2 equals to 4. So right now I can't able to get that where from where I can get. I will show you later on. So right now I am not getting where is that actually files resides. So I just want to tell you here in this example, like what is 2 plus 2? It is actually the body which you are sending to the request or the server, and response you are getting something as a response body which is actually 2 plus 2 equals to 4. So this is how things are working. So when I will move to the next slide. So in response, what you are getting the response header. Response header. Next one is response body. So in response body, what you are getting 2 plus 2 equals to 4. This is actually the response body. And status code is as 200. So I will show you status code also. So when you will do inspect, because all the things works perfectly. So wait a minute, I will refresh this. Hmm. So as all the things are because works perfectly, so you are getting the status code as 200 here. You can see. So this is basically the status code as 200 here in this example. And first, and one thing more I want to tell you, initiator is the one who is actually who is actually your main who is actually sending the request to the server. So in initial phase, your own PC or your own browser is actually the initiator. So when your browser is sending the request, then that thing we can't write it as browser, so we'll depict that thing as a other. So here other is actually your browser who is sending the request to this URL like head chat GPT. Here you can see when I will hover this link, and then after you can see in white box. So this all is all about how you can getting the answers with the status code. Till now, anyone is having any problem? Hello, hello.
Yes, yes.
Anyone is having problem? Anyone is having any problem till now?
No, brother.
Are you not feeling any type of interest related to these things? I think these are the interesting things.
These are the much interesting things in our development field. But
Yes.
sometimes circumstances are not in our favor.
So let's forget those circumstances and please all of you try to focus because these are the important things here. If you are implementing something related to any technology like machine learning and all other steps, you must have to attach some front end with it. Although your backend can be in any of the languages, but your front end is basically in the form of HTML, JavaScript, and all these things. So you must know how these all are connected with your backend. So these are the terminologies you
Okay.
must know. So please try
Okay.
to focus and be more interested on all these things.
Yes, yes.
Here you can see how client is sending the request to the server and how server is getting back, how server is sending something as a response. So when client is sending, so what client is sending? Client is sending all these things, all these four, and server is sending as a response with all these three uh, rows. So what client is sending? Client is sending actually the links, header, and the body and the method post. And in server, what we are getting actually from the server, we are getting response header, response body, and status code. So these are all about the theory part related to this what related to the server thing. Now I will show you how to make your own server with the help of this. With the help of Node.js, Express.js, and all the other stuff. Right now I will close this. Hmm. So now I will open a new window. Please confirm you can able to see the VS Code or not. Uh, Please give confirmation. You all can able to see the my screen with Visual Studio Code open or not. Hmm. So here I will create one folder. Folder name is demo HTTP server. So here I will create one server and I will open this folder inside this Visual Studio Code. Inside the servers. So firstly, if you want to create some folder, so right now I am creating the server with the help of Node.js. So firstly, Node.js must have to be installed on your device. Node.js must have to be installed on your device. So to see whether Node.js is installed in your device, you must have to click on control and then tilde sign. So what is control and then tilde sign? So control and then tilde sign is like this. Control plus this waving sign. So this is when you will press this. So in your Visual Studio Code, when you will press this, here you can see a terminal is open. And to check whether Node is perfectly installed or not, you have to write this Node dash V. It will tell you the version. So here you can see I am getting the version. It means Node is perfectly installed in my device. So I will clear this screen out. So then after, if you want to create a server, then next thing is the folder in which you are creating the main file of the server. You must have to initialize that folder as a node folder. So to initialize that repository or folder as a node folder, you have to write one command as npm, which is a node package manager. So node package manager will initialize this folder. So currently you are in which folder? Currently you are inside demo HTTP server folder. So I want to initialize this normal folder as a node folder. So node repository. So I will write this command as npm init, which is node package manager. Please initialize this folder as a init and then as file. So dash y means default settings. So when I will press enter, so then after it will add one package.json file inside your uh, VS Code. So this package.json file, when I will open this file, here you can see this package.json file contains all the things that are basically resides inside your folder as a developer. So firstly, this name of your folder as a demo HTTP server version you are using, this main will be your index.json file. So I will when I will create, then I will show you. So next thing, these all the other things also here you can see. So one thing is important about this package.json is the other modules which you will install or which you will install in your project. So all the modules, the name of all the modules will be enlisted inside this file, package.json file. So let's say, firstly, I will clear this out, clear screen. And so now, so I have initialized this folder as this node folder. Now what I will do next thing, so next thing I want to create one file where I will write my server code. So I will create that file with the name as index.js and enter. So here right now you can see this is an empty file. Vedant, can you able to hear my voice?
Yes, Keshav, it is audible.
Okay. So now, so here you can see I have created one file which is an index.js file. So index.js file, you want to create some backend logic or you want to implement a server. You want to create a server which is actually the backend part. So I have already told you when you want to do something related to a backend, you have to install Express. So to install the Express, you have to write some command like npm install npm install and then express express. To use express inside your main file, you firstly you have to download all the packages related to express. So you can write this command as npm install express, or you can write this as also like npm I. So I is basically means the same as install. So when I will press enter, so it will install all the necessary modules related to the express and create one folder which is actually the node modules. So these are the actually the folders that you will that are related to express, and this node package manager creates one folder which contains all the necessary modules related to express. So I will clear this screen. So firstly, I will use some like variable. Here you can see const is a data type in JavaScript. So now what I will use const express. Express is a variable, and I will import this uh, express module from this node modules by using require. So require is a predefined default function, require require, and then the module which you want to import. So I want to import this express. So I will write this. So one thing I want to tell you that I can use this require way also, and I can use import way also, like import something from like this. Import express from this. Like this, I can also import, and with this require option, I can also import this express thing, express module in my file. So after writing this line, express is there inside my file. Now next thing is I will make one another variable which is app. So what app will use? App will call this express function. So what this express function is? So actually I होता ये है कि जैसे जब मैंने एक्सप्रेस मॉड्यूल जो है उसको अपने फाइल में इंपोर्ट करा लिया, अब उस एक्सप्रेस मॉड्यूल के अंदर एक एक्सप्रेस फंक्शंस होता है। जब उस एक्सप्रेस फंक्शंस का हम कॉल कर लेते हैं, तो उस एक्सप्रेस फंक्शन कॉल करने के बाद जो उसका नेसेसरी फंक्शंस है जो कि आगे चल कर हम लोग यूज करेंगे, वो ऐप नाम के वेरिएबल में हम लोगों ने डाल लिया है। तो अब मैंने ये इतना कर लिया। अब अगली चीज होती है, जब हमने इतना कर लिया, अब अगला होता है कि जब हम लोग सर्वर बना रहे हो, तो उसका मुझे एक पोर्ट डिसाइड करना पड़ता है जिस पोर्ट पे मुझे वो जो जब हम सर्वर पे हिट करें तो सर्वर का आउटपुट मुझे शो हो। तो मैं एक पोर्ट डिसाइड कर लेता हूँ। लेट्स से पोर्ट विल बी कॉन्स्ट पोर्ट। तो पोर्ट इज ऑल्सो अ वेरिएबल। लेट्स से पोर्ट अगर है तो वो मैंने डिसाइड कर दिया। लेट्स से पोर्ट विल बी 6000। तो 6000 is my port where I will actually render the output of my server. So now I will do like app dot listen. So after invoking this express function, I can use all the functions that are defined in this express module by using like app dot something. So now when I will have to uh, what I have to say, when I have to ex when I जैसे अगर मुझे अपना सर्वर इन्वायरमेंट में शो करना है तो मैं क्या करूंगा, ऐप डॉट लिसन। तो ये एक लिसन जो है मेरा एक प्री डिफाइंड फंक्शन है, जिसमें अगर हम ये पोर्ट की वैल्यू डालते हैं तो पोर्ट विल बी लेट्स से 6000। तो मेरे 6000 पे जो मेरा सर्वर का आउटपुट होगा वो रेंडर करेगा। तो 6000, and then after I will for writing something message I will use the fat arrow function, and then after I will like write like log, and here in log I will write something like port is uh, running at RUNNING. Port is running at, and then delta sign and this port. So this is how you actually started your own things. जैसे अब मैंने क्या किया, अभी एक फाइल क्रिएट करी index.html, उसमें express.js को इंपोर्ट कराया, उसके नेसेसरी मॉड्यूल्स इंपोर्ट कराए। उसके बाद मैंने पोर्ट स्टार्ट कर दिया 6000 नाम के पोर्ट पे। अब इस फाइल को रन कराने के लिए, यानी कि सर्वर को रन कराने के लिए, मेरे पास कमांड होता है नोड और उस फाइल का नाम जिसमें मेरा एक्चुअली ये सर्वर का कोड रिटर्न है। तो मेरी फाइल का नाम क्या है, index.js। तो नोड and then index.js, index.js. So when I will run this file and then press enter, so here you can see I have getting this answer as port is running at 6000 number port. अब मुझे ओपन करना है, तो लेकिन ओपन करने से पहले मुझे एक रूट पाथ क्रिएट करना होता है। तो रूट पाथ क्रिएट करने के लिए मुझे लिखना पड़ेगा app.get। तो दिस इज एक्चुअली द फर्स्ट वेट अ मिनट, app.get। So this is actually get is actually what? Get is actually the method where the client will send the response. So firstly client will send so defaultly, देखो default होता है कि डिफॉल्ट में मेरा एक स्लैश होता है पाथ। जब क्लाइंट कुछ एंटर नहीं करता है अपने यूआरएल के साथ, कोई भी राउट एंटर नहीं करता है, तो डिफॉल्ट राउट होता है मेरा स्लैश। तो उस स्लैश के साथ मैं एक फैट एरो फंक्शन मुझे डॉट गेट फंक्शन के साथ लिखना पड़ता है। उस फैट एरो फंक्शन के अंदर दो पैरामीटर होते हैं, एक रिस्पॉन्ड, एक होता है रिक्वेस्ट, REQ, रिक्वेस्ट, एंड सेकंड वन इज रिस्पॉन्ड। तो रिक्वेस्ट एंड रिस्पॉन्ड एक फंक्शन होता है जो मुझे ऐप डॉट गेट के अंदर लिखना होता है। अब ये जो रिक्वेस्ट है, तो रिक्वेस्ट वो होता है जो मुझे क्लाइंट सेंड करता है अपने रिक्वेस्ट हेडर्स में, और जो रिस्पॉन्ड होता है वो सर्वर सेंड बैक करेगा क्लाइंट को। तो यहाँ से क्लाइंट, मान लीजिए सर, जब क्लाइंट ने रिक्वेस्ट मुझे सेंड करी डॉट गेट गेट नाम के रिक्वेस्ट मेथड से, तो वो आया डॉट स्लैश नाम के राउट में, और उस स्लैश नाम के राउट में आएगा मेरे पास रिक्वेस्ट के अंदर। अब जब रिक्वेस्ट के अंदर आया, तो अब रिक्वेस्ट के अंदर मेरे पास ऑल द इनपुट्स हैं जो कि मुझे क्लाइंट सेंड करेगा। अब इस इनपुट पे प्रोसेस करके मुझे कुछ आउटपुट अगर सेंड बैक करना है मेरे किसको, क्लाइंट को, तब मैं रिस्पॉन्ड डॉट सेंड नाम का फंक्शन यूज करूंगा उसको रिस्पॉन्ड सेंड करने के लिए। लेट्स से मैंने रिस्पॉन्ड सेट किया वेलकम, वेलकम inside 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 the server enter and then control s। सो अब मुझे रीस्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा नोड इंडेक्स डॉट जेएस। तो ये यू कैन सी पोर्ट इज रनिंग एट 6000। अब मैं क्या करूंगा, अपने क्रोम ब्राउजर में जाऊंगा या किसी भी ब्राउजर में जाऊंगा। तो लेट्स से आई विल ओपन द क्रोम ब्राउजर, एंड देन आफ्टर व्हेन आई विल ओपन एनी ऑफ द माय ईमेल आईडी, and then after when I will write like this http and then double slash and then localhost and then पोर्ट का नेम, क्योंकि मेरा पोर्ट 6000 नंबर पोर्ट पे रन हो रहा है, तो मैं 6000 नंबर का पोर्ट एंटर करूंगा, एंटर कर दूंगा। तो वेट अ मिनट, व्हाई इट इज नॉट ओपनिंग http local 6000। Okay, wait a minute, I forget to explain you one thing. One thing that I forget to express, I forget to tell you that you have to install one more thing with the Express, like that's called the nodemon. So with the Express, you have to install one more thing like npm install nodemon, and then enter. So it will all the dependencies related nodemon. So it will edit this all the dependencies, and then after when I will use this clear, and then after when I will write npx nodemon, and then npx nodemon and then index dot js file, then press enter. Here you can see I am able to see like port is running at 6000 number port. So when I will open this, wait a minute guys. The web page is temporarily down or it may be no one day on the web. I think something is wrong. PORT. So right now, due to the time limit also, I am getting ran out of time, and due to some issue also, I will cover this part on my next session or when I will get the time. So now, Vedant, you can start with your presentation. I think due to the network connectivity, I am stuck in with this issue. I will cover this part afterwards. So when more participants will be there. So right now, Vedant, you can start with your meeting. I will create one new meeting and then again leave this meeting currently and join with that new meeting link, which I will send. Okay, Vedant. 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 Vedant.
Sharing my screen right now.
Vedant, now you can start presentation. I can able
Okay.
to see slides as well as I can hear your voice also. You can start.
Okay. So my voice is clear and my session presentation is visible to you everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay, Keshav. Thanks a lot for the confirmation. So, a very good evening to everyone. Today, I'm gonna start with the next part of the of Node. So, recently, you might have seen about the Keshav session. That was too much interesting. He showed about how the server is working over in the Node.js. Although it is related towards HTTP servers, and I will also be implementing these servers in the future sessions. Um, so basically you people will be aware of how you create a server and how the basic movement of running a node and installing packages. So that's a good thing, and it's a good step, and it will be revised to you again. So today I'm gonna I have a large number of slides today, more number of slides. Actually, today the last session, what I did, I just expanded about. I just told you about that I would be completing up the modules part, but there was a part that I missed up some of the important slides. Okay, so that some basic slides due to which I didn't recognize. I had recognized it in the future in the post session. So today I brought up all the slides, and today if something is not clear to you, it will get clear to you very smoothly. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me right of the session, or you can interrupt me right of the session, or you can comment us on your comment box when as our recording will be getting deployed towards the YouTube channel. So today one thing more I wanted to you to clear that when as Keshav was telling you that you have to write npm and how to use npm and how to use node. Actually there is no difference between using npm and node. The using of we use node. Actually I told you in my last sessions also. Actually we then also I'm revising it again as Keshav to today's meeting, that we use node when we using npm when we have to make some large projects, and we are using then we are modifying scripts, and we use node generally we use node. Okay, so there's no problem. So let me start with the first slide of today. See, as you people, as I still remember Rudransh asked me in the last session that how these see I told you that we would be completing up with the modules. Today we would be completing up with the modules. I have covered all the parts of the modules, and we will be moving towards the file. So we will be, if we have the time, we will be looking towards the file handling. Although I have introduced the file handling also, but if we would have time, if we do not have the time foundations, we will be looking up towards that those file handling also. So today, if you can see, I remember the last session, Rudransh asked me one question, that how we are going to print up the value. For example, actually I was telling you about the modules, and I was explaining you about the exporting of the modules. So Rudransh was basically asking me that how would we have been exactly, you can say exactly looking up that how the modules are working, how the values are printed, or actual mathematical operations. Actually, that it was showing anonymous functions, and how will we get an exact result rather than not getting anonymous functions. So I have answered that questions also, but today you can see it practically also. As in the last session we didn't have that time. That see, look, the first line says that we are implementing one add function. I have told you about that. I had told you that we have created up to files. The fun file is name.js, and another file is math.js. Although you can see over here the name.js file only. Okay, we will be looking up we will be moving making one more file of math.js. currently what we can see, we are using the operation in a single file. We are not actually we are not implementing the concept of sports. We are just implementing a simple concept of adding two numbers, and as we have, see, and it is a very simple concept in a JavaScript. When we add two numbers, we use this kind of operation, creating a simple functions, passing up the parameters. Then we are returning these parameters and printing addition statement. But when we are printing in our terminal, it is showing us at nan means it's not a number. What does it mean, not a number? When it comes, it means that value is, it's not an undefined value, but it's not a kind of an error, but this, it shows a kind of an undefined value. So it's not a number. Okay, it is not, the argument type is not a kind of a value, but it is not showing up, it doesn't gives you an error. Why it is coming, just anyone can tell. Okay, let me clear up you the logic. That we here in console.log add, what I did, I just intentionally did it, that I just put past the two values, 88107 and 78695, as you people can see. But I had used the plus operator, addition operator, that is invalid operator. If we are returning up with the parameters as v plus s, then we do not have any kind of a right, then we it is not required, it is totally unnecessary part, that we are using 88107 plus 978 we can use a comma to separate the values, and we can get the simple result. As you people can see in the next slide, as I modified the code, I can get up the proper result at 186,88802. That is sum of those two numbers. So we just implementing the sum of two numbers right now, and it is a very easy function and a simple function. So you people can try it on your file also, on your Node.js file also. But remember this thing, that we are using Node.js, so to try, so you have to run it in the command that is using the run button, as not we are not implementing JavaScript over here. We are using a file of a JavaScript to understand the working of a terminal of Node.js, that how Node.js works. So this is a very basic. These are the very basic operations. Okay. Then we again used that console.log add, and again now we have created what two files. As I was saying earlier, that we will be creating up two files, and we had created two files, math.js and a name.js file. Okay, so we have implemented two files, math.js and name.js. In the for example, when the file that has been implemented as math.js and the file that is implementing as name.js. So here I'm using in the name.js file, in what I'm doing, I'm just I have just used directly console.log add, and I pass up the two values, and in math.js I'm performing those functions, but it is saying that it is giving me a kind of a reference set. That means it is not able to reference one file to another file, because half of the operations have been performed in the single one file, and half the operations are performed in the next file. But so that is the reason that we are not able to reference one file to the another file. So how is this possible, or why it is getting possible? So let's look up that. So it is a kind of an error that, let me clear it to you. It is an object, that it is an object value that is used, known as anonymous. That is, it is not defined right now. Okay, the function is not defined right now. Okay, so one thing more. Yes, so I see one thing that you people must be I think facing the problem, that uh, that when you are implementing a single file, for example, you have implemented the file of this, you can see my file, that is name file, that is name.js, and the second file is math.js file. So I want to link up the two files, for example, the name.js file and the math.js file, but I'm not able to link up those files. For example, you can see it is getting me an error that your code is your code is module not found. Your module is not found in your code, and which kind of module it wants? It is a required stack, and what kind of stack? It is user ASO documents. That simply means that, for example, when we are creating a single file in our file manager, so or even in your VS code, even or in your VS code or your file manager individually. So when first we are creating one folder, then we're creating one more empty folder and we are naming it for the node.js and node.js part 1, and then we are implementing up the 2 files in that folders. As you can see, uh, a node.js part 1, this is, you can see if over here if it is visible to you. So it is saying like it is asking that I have implemented 2 folders. I have created 2 files, sorry, not folders. I have created 2 files, math and name. So it is running in those files, but it is giving me a kind of a stack error. This is a very simple error. That means I have to see first. It was giving me a reference error. That means I am not able to reference it. So that means if I'm not able to reference it, it's simply in a layman language. It means that for I have to define a variable for variable for performing any function. For example, when you're performing any in the first slide, what I showed to you, that we are implementing a function of math and a function of add, and then we are adding up the then we are doing a summation of 2 values. But if we are doing that particular thing directly without implementing the logic, obviously it will be giving me an error. But now I'm using I'm using a variable, and there I'm using a require. That means require is an inbuilt keyword. That means it requires a particular directory of your file. For the it just simply means that if I'm using it is a name.js. For example, if you mean hello.js, index.js, it depends upon you. So the logic basically it has been implemented in the math.fails file, because we are operating the mathematical functions. Okay, although you can create your own file with your own list, so it's not a problem over there. So so I just require means that which file you want to fetch upon. It is simply means to fetching us the another file, but fetching a file at a certain directory or at a right directory. I'm sorry. So that means you have to use a dot slash. What does that dot slash means? It means that you are using a current directory. So it means that I am not using my current directory. So whatever directory I am using, I have to show it to you. So how you show it to? So I just simply write it in inverted commas math. So it is not able to understand that. So it is not able to understand that I want it in a math. I'm asking it for the math value. It for that I have to mention dot slash. Dot slash we use for specifying a current directory. Okay, so you have to implement dot slash, and it will not give it this an error. Okay, so as people can look up here, just forget about reference error. Just see the one error has been removed, that is module not found stack. That means I'm using in a correct stack, appropriate stack, and module and directory has been implemented over there. So it is a simple technique to represent your current directory. Okay, and that is very important when you're using in your require. You have to, and for the next file, for the file you have to use a directory when you are referencing to another file, and with the help of dot slash. We use dot slash generally. So here it is here. So here you people can see it is showing the curly brackets. So why it has been showing me the curly brackets? For example, it means that it is I haven't you can say I haven't used the normal, you can say it is showing me that it is nothing over there in the curly braces. Okay, that means my operations have not been performed. Nothing has been performed. So that means it is meaning empty square, empty curly braces. Okay, so say that is a problem over here, although we don't math. So why we are doing it, that although we are using a custom library, and but we wanted to export a function. Exporting a function generally means that we are making it public. For example, uh, if you are is using any kind of a, you can say if you're studying something, and you're studying if you're studying something on your laptop. Okay, and but the thing is that on the other hand, when you're studying that particular thing with a group of your friends, that means first you were studying individually, and then and the next point of view, when you are when you're doing a group study and showing your discussing your problems with your friend, that means you're making it public. You want to you want to study in public. That means you want to do a, a public learning. Okay, so that what does it mean? So that is what is the meaning of an exporting a function. So here you can see over here that here in my particular file, I want to export it to the next file. So for that you can see, uh, I just implemented my particular. See, again, I'm using that particular add function, and I'm using that add function to add some of the values. I'm taking up the same example as I took in when I was using your single file. So here also I'm using the same logic. I'm using the same example, but the key difference over here is that the concept we are using, that exporting, that means we have created two files, the file A and file B, and we want to do the particular operations in the two files, that is in the name file A and file B. So, and but although the result that we want to extract is the same. Okay, there is no difference. Okay, so as you can see, people can see over here that people can see over here that in my math.js, what I did, I simply use one add function, and I was using return v plus s. But at module.exports, I haven't wrote any additional logic. I haven't passed up any values. I just used the module.exports, and I have used I took up the string that is my name as Vedant, and still although still it is showing up the complete bracket, that means nothing has been printed. My logic is not getting implemented right now. Also, I'm not able to implement my logic. But here you can see module.exports is equals to Vedant. It means that I'm using a current string to my exports, and I'm using that particular string. I'm using that particular string that to print up with my terminal. So whether it will be getting printed my name or the value of those additional values. Let's look up that. As you people can see, what the result here is, the first of all, this empty stack has not been this has not been found, and that's the good part. That means curly braces is not found, and now this is the next, you can say, output, and math value is coming as Vedant. Okay, so but how but why it is coming it as Vedant rather than it has been implementing as I'm implementing of my logic to add the two numbers, but I am using it as Vedant. Math value is Vedant. So the logic is very crystal clear over here that I'm sorry, the logic is very crystal clear over that. I'm using the console.log print statement. In the first slide also, you have seen that I have used I have used the first statement as console.log, and I have passed up the two values of math, that is I just console.log. I used to use one function of addition, pass up the two parameters, returning those parameters as an additional logic. Then again in console.log, I wanted to print and I'm passing up the two values, for example, a value A and a value of A and a value of B, and it is giving up the summation of those values. But here, if you people can see over here, that means I just, because now I'm using I have took one variable as math. I'm not using it directly. Okay, so I have so in the console.log, as you people have the clear logic about the directory, how we are using directory, then we are using the printing statement of console.log. And for example, I given up the one printing statement, that is the addition of the values or the math value is. So that is and it has been printed as it will be getting printed as math. So I took up the variable as math, and I just and comma I'm using this math. So it is directly implementing my logic of math. But as you can see, my function add over here, here I use a module.exports. That means module.exports is an inbuilt, you can say, concept or the inbuilt function that you use for exporting a one file to the result of one file to the another. Because I'm using my mathematical operations over here, so I have to use mathematical operations always. Just remember this thing. You cannot use this at name.js. You have to use it at math.js. So you're using it as math.js. So you're using it as math.js, and you use module.exports. So rather than giving addition and subtraction, I was using my name as string Vedant. So there is one printing statement, and because it has been using the current directory, so the result of the directory has been printed automatically. So we do not have to use any that variable again and again. I just use math one time. So when very smoothly it has been printed, math value is Vedant. Okay. So there, I think here also till here you should not have any doubt, because the next part is very correlated between the first and two slides. So let me clear you once upon one thing more. Actually, again, sorry. Let me summarize you that particular part. That we created up the two files. We created the file A as name.js. We created up the file B as math.js. When in the math name.js file, we have used one variable, and there as the require require is the inbuilt, you can see, function over there, and there I'm using the current directory of my function, because that is the most important part to understand. Then I use console.log that math value is, and math either I can pass up the two values as I have passed over here. But rather than I haven't passed up the values, and because when if we are using a single file, then we are creating a function at there, but we wanted to export. So then so that is the reason we have took one variable, and we're using require, and require, you have to use a directory. So automatically when you're using the directory over there, so you do not have to write again in the name.js support. You have to mention about math. You simply create up the two values and add the module that puts the inbuilt value and inbuilt function, and it will give you up the simple logic and a simple result. Okay, so that is math value is Vedant. So okay, so okay, say here it was coming up with the reference error, that is A is not defined. So okay, so I was explaining that okay, so I was explaining you that when here we are getting add function, and then we are passing the values, and we are getting the result of those two values. So here when I was getting the result of the two values, so again when I'm using not okay I'm not using the two values, and I'm using the subtract function. Plus then I will be getting the result of the subtract as function of the subtract. Okay, so this happens when this happens when we are using the subtract function, using two functions in a single file. Okay, so the thing is that what kind of priority it will be given towards either to subtract, or it would be giving the priority to add function. So basically, it gives the priority to the add function. Not sorry. For example, a priority would be provided to the subtract function, not towards the add function, because here what happens, because where we the subtract, as you can see, that subtract function has been subtract. Here you can see that I was using module exports add, but then we are passing the values. I can get at the summation of my summation of my values. But on the other hand, if I would not be implement, so okay. On the other hand, if I would use passing up the module dot subtract, so it will be giving me the value of subtract, because it is the concept of method overriding, and although again I haven't passed up the value, so it will be getting the function subtract, and if I haven't passed up the values, I will be getting the result. So it is the concept of method overriding. And if you want to understand the concept of method overriding more clearly, in a clearer manner, so it would be more obvious to you for while you can do it, one exercise, that at model.exports you can pass at the value of any number. For example, here you have passed one, again in the next you can pass at the 7, although I took the two values as 6 and 5. So it will be exporting. So it will be overriding the 6. That means 6 has been getting overridden by 5. That means 6 would get lost and 5 will get printed in a terminal. So this is the basic concept of method overriding in a subtract function or in a Node.js. So although it is, we cannot, if you want to use two functions, if you for the singular function, it is always right. But when you want to use two functions, you have to understand this that logic, that you cannot do it directly. So it has some different ways, different techniques. Okay, so this is the technique basically we use for this particular thing. We just make up the two functions of addition and subtraction. Then model.exports add and subtract, and here you cannot you're getting the both results of subtract and add. Simply what we did, we created the two values, but we changed the technique of writing those things. For example, when we are not directly implementing model.exports is equals to add, where we have used the curly braces, and we are defining because likewise we are defining, okay, our function of addition function and function of addition function of our own. And then what kind of function I took. For example, I took the function named as add, so I'm using as add. And if I took it as subtract, then I'm using it as subtract, and likewise I will be getting the result. So till actually there I have covered up till 23, slide number 23. And today I wanted to wrap up with this slide number 23, and we are in shortage of time. And although we are sorry for that, but actually, most of the people are not attending the session due to some reasons. So, and also, if we are understanding the more things actually in a single, can say, in a single meeting, so it would be very hustle and bustle towards the mind. So, so you can practice still over here, and although I will be sharing my content, my content again in the group. So Keshav, I'm wrapping up till here. So I will be directly jumping towards my exercise, the output finding exercise, and in the next session, although it is very clear also, Keshav, I'm also telling to you that I will be continuing towards the slide number 24 and 24.
Okay, Vedant,
Okay,
just
as
move
you people can see,
last slide and cover the question
as you
part.
as you people can see, it has many slides. So, okay, so Keshav, if you want to tell up the logic, tell up the answer, or I should proceed it.
I think plus plus x will firstly increment the value of x, so it will be 2, and plus plus y. Uh, I don't think so. I think it will be an error. I'm
Okay,
not.
Keshav, uh, let me speak.
Yes, yes,
Can
yes.
I speak? Okay. So Keshav, the first logic that you have that you have told us, it is totally right. That as Keshav told you, when that x is equals to 1 over here, and simply in the next part only, we are incrementing x from 1. And this and when if you have studied the simple basic C programming also, and that C programming, the basic concept or the basic understanding is that what we do, we just these are the pre-incremented operators. So in pre-incremented operators, first it increments the value, and then it prints and then it use that value. So Keshav, your first answer is totally, the logic is totally right. You have to work on your second logic. That is not that is wrong. Actually, what you said, that is the most interesting part. Actually, it is a very simple question, but the second part makes it interesting, or it gives a twist to understand why this question is important. Like,
no, actually, I told in the last section that if there is any variable and it is a non-empty string, so it took up the value of true. Okay, but as it is a variable and it is a non-empty string also, it has something and it is considering it as a string. So it cannot give an error. So it will never give an error in future also. Remember this thing. So but the thing is, I also explained in some of the last sessions that JavaScript has the tendency of type corrosion, and it's not JavaScript, other programming languages also. If someone is studying Python, and so this is a basic tendency of a compiler. The basic tendency of a compiler that it just moves up towards the type collision. And the type collision is just simply that it's converting from a single numerical value to the string value. So although it's a string value, so it will try to convert it towards the string towards the number or the integer, and that is one. So it will be first it would be converting from the string to one, and then that one at y, that one would get incremented as usually as it happened in the first part at x part, and it will be getting up the logic output as same, that is 2. So will also be is equals to 2, and y will always also be is equals to 2 after printing up this up to of x and y. So here till here, if you have any problem, you can please ask me.
No problem, Vedant.
Okay, thanks. So although I've completed with the session, one thing more, that is what do you mean by this keyword? Actually, this keyword is a keyword. I'm sorry. So this keyword is a keyword that that helps you in building up many logics. For example, when we use JavaScript, actually when JavaScript was getting implemented, actually if when I was explaining covering up the JavaScript part, I told you that there are two things. There's a DOM and browser object models and document object models. So basically, it is referencing towards your it is nothing browser. It's a window part. So window it is Windows nothing. It is just referencing to your global scope. For example, this keyword has been implemented can get implemented towards your window part, your referencing your browser part. It can get in your it can you can even use it in your event handlers part. You can use this keyword obviously in your constructor part in object oriented programming, when I taught you object oriented programming as well. It is used for creating objects when you're using constructors. So this keyword can be used in many ways. Okay. So and also you can use it in your arrow functions also. So these 5 to 6 parts you can use with this keyword. The thing or the difference that has been created over here is that some you can the values of the output. For example, when you're using it in a global scope, so it will the output that you will be getting as might you're getting as window. That means your output is getting your global scope. When you are using it in an arrow function, for example, you created one function and you're implementing with the arrow. For example, you created any x function and then you want to console.log and you're using the arrow function. So it might give you and console.log, you're simply printing this. So it might give you undefined something like that, because in it is arrow function cannot recognize this. And at your browser object at your browser window, uh, so when you're just simply printing like that console.log and in the brackets this, then the output you will be getting as window. That means it is asking you to that it is implementing a scripts. That means it is implementing scripts. That means it is referencing towards the window, and window is nothing. It is a logic to implement that indicate a global scope. That is, it is implementing the value of a global scope. And in constructor, when you're using constructor, it is very obvious you are creating any new object. Then you are creating, for example, I created one function of name and I passed the name as John. and I just use that parameter of parameter as John, and I'm using that this dot parameter as name, and this dot name is equals to name. I'm passing in the name as John over there, and then I'm implementing console.log. So I'm for example making any object again, then I have to make obviously I have to create an object. So while of name, so name this, and again I'm creating an object. I'm printing that object, for example. So this keyword will help me to fetch up the value of that object, well, with the help of this keyword. Okay. So this and event handlers also you can get some the simple similar logics. So I
Vedant,
think I have covered up today. Today I have covered almost covered with my target, as I have left with some of my 50% slides, more than 50% slides. So that will be implementing. Obviously, I'm promising you we will be covering up in the next session. So thank you so much for this session, and please come towards the next session. Join the next session for understanding the next. Thank you so much.